welcome back to another glorious episode of this fine established PodBois podcast.
Where it's literally just us.
Yep.
Because everyone else abandoned us.
You know that meme of Will Smith in the Bel Air house, just looking around with nothing? It's literally just me and Savannah. Sure, I might have dropped the ball a little bit, but at least I didn't pull a Georgia and miss a field goal. We're still pulling it in because the Cox definitely went in on Saturday.
I just want to add a side note that you may hear children screaming because all my little cousins are staying the night and they're upstairs playing Fortnite, and they are the most toxic teammates you could possibly have. Almost
as toxic as Wes is when you're out partying, or Atwood whenever he's
supposed to show up to hang out.
Or
dude, this man has told us he's coming over 2 nights in a row, and guess how many times he showed up at our house? 0.
You could be as bad as Robbie, who is literally in jail right now. Yes, he might tell you that is where he works, but maybe they just let him out during the day because he's proved himself enough, but he's still gotta go stay there at night. We don't know.
Okay.
JK.
Trash.
Anyways.
Alright, let's jump into the picks because I'm ready to make some picks because I had 19 parent-teacher conferences today and I want to go to bed.
Alright, well, I got one question. At parent-teacher conferences, you rate the students' performances per se, right?
I guess so. Go over
How would you rate
benchmarks?
Georgia's performance last Saturday? We watched that game, saw it all happen.
I would say it was a fun game to watch because it just kept coming down to a field goal and then another field goal and then another field goal. And it's always fun to watch Georgia lose, of course.
But wouldn't you say, alright, they dropped down to number 10. Would you say that's fair or not?
I would say that's fair. I figured they would drop somewhere between 8 and 10. I mean, you can't lose to an unranked team and expect to stay top 5. That's just not unrealistic.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of crazy that if everyone's calling you elite, to be elite, you would think that you wouldn't.
I gotta go yell at some kids.
You would think that you wouldn't drop the ball on whenever you have literally get saved by numerous field goals getting missed. Okay, now we're back. Sorry that last little bit was slightly awkward, but anyways, as I was saying, I was to be an elite team that's really a national contender, it's acceptable to get upset. But whenever the South Carolina kicker literally misses multiple field goals to give you an opportunity to score and save you per se, you got to step it up.
They had way too many opportunities to win that game. That's not a national contender to choke that hard that many times.
No. Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. Yeah, I think 10's okay, but Florida, I think, also proved themselves against LSU. Yeah, they lost by 14, but not many teams should go into Death Valley when this LSU team is this good and do much better. So I think Florida really proves a little bit to me that, Florida, I've called them overrated, but I think they kind of are what they thought they are. And LSU, I think, just proved that LSU might be better than Alabama. We'll see that later on this year whenever they play, obviously. But LSU might be better.
All right. What's our first pick? I'm ready to jump into these picks because I'm tired.
All right. Well, you could say I've been ducking the question. And no, I'm not ducking, kidding around. Anyways, we got number 12, Oregon is hosting 25 Washington.
I think it's at Washington. That's what I told you.
I thought you told me it was at Oregon. Anyways, I'm wrong.
In Seattle.
It's in Seattle, okay. Well, some teams could be, in the NFL, could be sucking for the duck. Justin Herbert. Heisman contender. I don't think he's quite proved himself, but I do think that this Oregon team is better than Washington.
I'll agree with that. Oregon has won their last 5 games, whereas Washington lost to Stanford a couple weeks ago. They lost by 10 points. It wasn't necessarily a close game. I think Oregon's a better team. I mean, it speaks for itself that they're number 12 and Washington's 25. Even though it's at Washington, I think Oregon easily covers the spread.
Alright, we got number 13 Utah hosts number 17 Arizona State. Utah is a 13-point favorite, which that's a pretty big number. So,
considering they're that close in ranking, to be a 13-point favorite is pretty big.
Going into the season, I thought Utah had a chance to win the Pac-12, and obviously, if you're going to have a chance to win the Pac-12, you're one of the better teams. So I'm going to take Utah over Arizona State.
I mean, just based on stats, Utah is scoring about 10 more points per game, and they're allowing about 6 less per game. So that's a recipe for winning.
And they beat our fake boy Wes's championship contender BYU rough, because they so poo-poo.
The only loss that Utah has had was to our boys, the USC, and sometimes things get slippery with the Trojans.
Yup.
So I mean, we can understand that.
Oh no, I don't even think USC plays this week.
So I definitely think Utah will win this. I don't think that they'll cover that spread. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. I say they win by a touchdown. Maybe a touchdown and a field goal.
Okay. Sorry for the little awkward interchange there. But Savannah, I'm so glad that you mentioned our boys USC, because I completely forgot where they're not ranked. Sometimes when I'm looking for these games and I'm just looking for ranked opponents, I miss them. Yes, I'm a human. I know I ain't perfect on the podcast, but
bitch, no one thinks you're perfect, you dumb bitch.
I mess up, okay? Shocker. Anyways, USC will be hosting Arizona. And
the Sun Devils?
No, the Sun Devils we just picked.
That's Arizona State.
Yup. We got bear down with the Wildcats. I learned the story. And
isn't that the one with the sad story?
Yeah, this guy said they had to bear down. He was a Marine. I don't know, he's in the military. Anyways, this is getting awkward with just us two, but I'll pick it up.
You're being awkward.
Because the Trojans...
Just talk about the games.
Okay. The Trojans... Troy and, I don't even know what Vanessa Hudgens' name is. They went to Arizona.
Gabriella.
They were at an Arizona school that was the Wildcats, and they had the time of their lives.
So
you know what they didn't have?
Together.
Trojans. And that's...
they probably did.
Anyways.
But it's a kids' show.
I've watched enough of that movie to know that, like Savannah said, they are all in this together. And that golf scene where Troy is just dancing around taught me that Khalil Tate can dance around in the pocket and get points. They're beating the Trojans. Savannah, who you got?
On Utah, Arizona?
No, Arizona, USC.
Dude, I'm sorry. I literally have done so many parent-teacher conferences today that my brain is fried. Sometimes, I don't know. I don't even have a good sex joke. I got my boys the Trojans though, because we rep our mans.
Speaking of our mans, did you see that where Carol, the president of USC, checked out that man's?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, she was like, might have to pull a Trojan out of the box. Trojans on deck, literally the president of Trojans, actually.
Well, I do think USC wins it. What is our next actual game we had selected to pick from?
Alright. I disrespected these kids. Penn State hosts Michigan, and they are a 9-point favorite.
The Nittany Lions.
I think we're going to learn a lot about both these teams in this game, even though Michigan is kind of trash. But I'm going to take Penn State, and I think this matchup, you'll get your first glimpse as to whether Penn State can beat Ohio State, who to this point, I think Ohio State is going to win the Big Ten. But I think you'll be able to tell a lot about Penn State in this game and how big they win. I don't think it's a matter if, I think it's a matter of how big.
Yeah, I think Penn State will win. Michigan took a big L to Wisconsin a few weeks ago. And I honestly don't know why they're still at 16. I mean, I kind of get it. They did beat the number 14 team, but Wisconsin gave them a fat L.
Hey, sometimes the Badger just comes out hot.
Well, I think that Penn State, they hit another ranked opponent last week in Iowa, and they were able to pull that victory out. I think they'll do it again this week, and I think that they'll end up having a decent season. I don't think they'll beat Ohio State.
These are two of the most entertaining coaches in college football.
For sure. James
Franklin. I don't even know if he's really a coach as much as a CEO. Like, this man, if he ran for governor of Pennsylvania, he would win. Like, that's how much Pennsylvania loves him. And he might do a better job just because he's a CEO of the program, not really a coach. That's why he made Vanderbilt succeed.
Some coaches run it like a business, and it just depends on where you're at, if that's going to work,
I think it worked at Vanderbilt. And Derek Mason just got blown out by UNLV, a team in the Mountain West that might not win a game in the Mountain West this year.
What's UNLV's mascot?
The Rebs, the Rebels.
Yeah, Pusha T says it in that song.
I'm scared. I don't even know what song you're talking about, Savannah.
He says UNLV Rebel sports shit. I'm not kidding.
Okay. Rap aficionado, Savannah Colbert.
I got you.
Alright, moving on. I know y'all been waiting all week for it. It just means more. Just means more segment of the week.
We got lots of It Just Means More. There's a couple of fantastic games for us to pick. So high quality games that you won't even believe it.
Savannah, did you say you picked USC earlier?
Yup.
Well, every pod with a good Trojan, there comes a cock. We got South Carolina hosting University of Florida Gators. A couple questions before I get into it. Or actually, just one question. Do you think that one of the most disrespectful... I know last week we talked about the horns down, or a couple weeks ago we talked about horns down with the Longhorns. You think it's more disrespectful when the other team Gator chomps on you after a big play?
Oh, if you're gonna have an iconic thing that you do, then you gotta be prepared for the other team to do it to you when they ball on you. If you don't want them to do it to you, then win. That's all I gotta say.
It was pretty hard the other day when Ed Orgeron's wife was literally Gator chomping on the sidelines. That was hard. Okay. Well, another thing about this, both teams had opposite ends of the spectrum last week. One got a season-changing win, and one got a season-changing loss. So it's really going to be about the mentalities going into it. You got one team that they could be depressed because they thought they was going to beat LSU. You got one team that could be on too big of a high. I think that Florida is going to win this game, but I do think South Carolina is going to come out hot. But South Carolina, I don't think they've got the depth at quarterback, considering they've had two quarterbacks injured, to win another big game. Savannah?
I also have Florida, and this one is in honor of it being my last day at CES. I've got to pick it for my boy Preston. He's my homie. He's a big Gators fan. He's got a Gators backpack of Gators. Hoodie wears like every day at Gators. Lunchbox he carries every day. Big Gators fan, so I'm picking the Gators in honor of him, even though, fuck Florida. But other than that,
yikes. Preston, if you're listening.
He ain't listening, he's 6.
Miss Nixon did not feel that way.
No, he's 7. He just turned 7. He's adult enough to hear it now.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the perfect age to download Apple Podcasts and download this podcast. If you haven't already downloaded Apple Podcasts, go on and download it.
That's the easiest way to listen to our podcast because you can download them and listen to them when you don't have service somewhere.
I mean, I was kind of trolling because I bet everyone... No, we did a ton of people on Spreaker.
Spreaker, SoundCloud. Spreaker is also a great place to listen. If you're out there listening on Spreaker, we appreciate you. Follow us on Twitter as well. Look up our PodBois podcast Twitter so you can get updates.
You ready for our game of the week?
Of course. The best game.
I think that we've got a historical night right here because this is officially the highest spread total that we've ever put as the game of the week. But it just means more. Alright? Tennessee travels to Tuscaloosa to take on the University of Alabama and Nick Saban.
Hell yeah, baby.
And they do not win. Spoiler alert, they do not win. But they are a 34.5 point underdog.
Okay, I think that instead of picking who should win or who will win, I think we should pick over or under on the spread.
I'm going to take over. I think that they beat them by more than 34.5.
Alright, not so fast. I think I'm going to have to take the under. I think that Alabama thinks that Tennessee's a fucking joke this year. And
They are.
They are. They are. They've made improvements the last couple of weeks, though, playing-wise. And I think that Alabama's going to underestimate them and not going to come out hot. And, I mean, obviously Tennessee's still going to lose, but I think that it won't be by that much. It'll be at least by 2 touchdowns, maybe 3, but not that much.
And, this ain't game of the week for sure. But just because we haven't picked it for Savannah in a while, Georgia Tech travels to the U. Who do you think's going to win this game, Savannah?
Obviously, my motherfucking dogs at the U. The Canes are going to stick it to them. They're going to pull out the turnover chain. They're going to roll up in their fucking U-chain Ferraris and shit like that people of Miami have, and they're going to win.
I like your pick. That's probably who I'm going to take. And I know you're tired, Savannah.
Very.
I got one question that does not pertain to college football. Does pertain to NFL, though.
Okay.
I know my Titans are trash.
Mm-hmm.
But how does it feel every week checking in on your dogs, the Dolphins, and seeing how trash they are?
I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. I have not watched the NFL at all this year.
Is it because the Dolphins are trash?
The Dolphins are trash, the Titans are trash. That's my 2 favorite teams. What's the fucking point of watching right now when it's that ass?
Well, just wait till y'all get to a tugboat next year.
You know that Big Sean song that he got famous for?
Dance?
Yep. That's what I think about when I think about my taste in football teams.
Yeah, I don't... Why did he name it Dance? A double money sign. That doesn't make any sense. Normally, if you have a name of a song, you say that name in the song. You said stop? Alright, PodBois.
Out. Okay, fuck you for not doing it with me.
Alright, let's redo it.
No,
PodBois.
Nope.
Out.
Play the fucking outro.